live. Welcome to the Fearless Living podcast. This is the new format. I will be interviewing people live on Friday nights during my live stream time, my regular live stream time. However, if I don't have a guest, then I will be doing a live stream on my own on those nights. But tonight I do have a guest, my very first live stream guest for the Fearless Living podcast. And I'm so excited. This is Minnie. And I'm going to read a little bit about Minnie. Minnie has a story that takes her from rock bottom to financial independence. Declared disabled by the Canadian government, she struggled to survive on a mere $1,368 per month. The constant judgment and stigma surrounding her situation were exhausting, and the thought of spending her golden years in poverty was terrifying. She grew tired of living under a shadow of fear and shame, feeling trapped in a cycle where she couldn't control her own financial affairs. But deep inside her, a spark ignited, a desire to reevaluate her life and reclaim her autonomy. That's when she discovered Dave Ramsey's book, Total Money Makeover, which became her roadmap to financial freedom and the life raft she desperately needed. By implementing Ramsey's 7 financial baby steps, Minnie found clarity and confidence. This structured plan was not just about numbers. It reshaped her mindset, helped her eliminate debt, and allowed her to build a safety net that finally gave her some breathing room. More importantly, it opened the door to something greater. Her journey into entrepreneurship has been a roller coaster ride, fueled by a desperate need to reclaim her financial autonomy. With a supportive community holding her accountable, each small step propelled her toward long-term stability and empowerment. Sometimes all one needs is a plan and a pinch of hope. Financial independence felt like a mountainous climb for Minnie, but with the right tools, she discovered the drive to aspire beyond mere survival and march firmly toward her dreams. Thank you for being here with me.
Yay! I'm all excited about it because I remember emailing you about it, and then you're launching another book.
Oh God, yeah.
It was a weird timing when I asked you.
And then I got sick.
Oh, yeah, that's not
I missed
great.
my own book launch. That's what happens, right? When you have a disability.
It is. It is. And I went out Boxing Day shopping in Eaton Center, and I may or may not, I feel something. And now I have to like load up on tea and then crush garlic and then crush ginger and more tea and lots of apple juice and then soup. It's just because
no doubt
the immune system that's already compromised.
Yeah.
I still think I'm fine. And I let me
Yeah.
go shopping on the worst day of the year.
I pulled into the mall and then pulled out.
I mean, I went in and got out in 2 hours, and
That's not bad.
I only really talked to the Asian couple trying on shoes and Skechers because they were right beside me. But everyone else I wasn't really close to anybody, but it's the subway and then the mall and the subway. And so
can
I'll
you
wait and see.
Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself? I did a kind of a general introduction, but it doesn't really tell us about who you are.
I mean, I've been online since 2003. Like the minute I turned 18, it was become a webcam model, try to be an adult star, become disabled, fight being homeless, get on disability. That's exactly it. Like I didn't go to college. I didn't do the degree. I didn't have a regular job. I like depressive child, neglectful parents, left home, somehow made it out alive. And I'm 40 next year. And I didn't think I would make it to that number. Like, because if you live with mental illness and if you're at the darker side of your symptoms, tomorrow doesn't feel like it's coming. Because you want to end. So, and then my tattoo of the semicolon to keep going. I keep going. I'm like the Energizer Bunny now. So it's so I can't really like pinpoint who I am because it comes with the whole history.
Yeah.
of trauma and then recovery and then trauma and then a weird toxic boyfriend for 10 years that's finally gone, and then 20-year-olds are hot and 40-year-olds are hot, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, there's a window into the soul. No, you sound
Yeah.
like you find you like I'm one of the, you know how they say there's men who love all women? Well, I'm a woman who loves all men. I just love them
Yeah.
all.
As long as they're legal enough to fly me across the country and buy alcohol.
Oh my goodness. I went to a pub today for something called lingerie lunch, and I quit drinking 2.5 months ago. I don't know if it's forever, but it's a break at the very least. And so I went to this event that I've only ever been to where I drank, and the guys there always just keep buying me drinks, and I can drink all day with them if I want to. And today I went and I spent the whole time sober, and I had a great time. In fact, I think I had a better time than when I drink. It was crazy. It's
Okay.
interesting
I
getting
haven't
to
got to
manage
that
it.
place yet, but I'll keep trying. I'll keep yeah.
Yeah. So, can you tell us a little bit about how you've managed to survive the becoming disabled and not just being um, thrust into horrible poverty and homelessness? Like, how did you get yourself out of that?
Making money off the internet. So luckily, high school, I took a lot of computer classes. And then as a tween, it was a computer camp every summer where we play video games and we learn a
Yeah.
software. And then my computer at home was too slow than the computer at computer camp. So I had to convince my mom to buy me a faster computer. And I would crash it like every weekend so that my uncle had to fix it. And then, yeah, like there was an ad in the paper to be a webcam model. I took it. I didn't know what a webcam was. And then I started working on the website. I became top model in 6 months,
Wow.
where my first paycheck was $300 to my top model paycheck being $1,500. I mean, in Canada, that's 30% more income. And now it's 40% more income. So,
No doubt.
like, as long as I had internet access, a computer, a webcam. I remember like I had a panic attack when I couldn't have a computer and a camera because I left the house that started me as a webcam model to another house that was giving me
Mhm.
this really weird webcam that was green. Like the picture feed would be green. And I'm like, I can't do that. I always had HD height. Like, even though we did
Mhm.
have HD, we did the lighting in a way that it looked like HD.
Oh, okay.
So I was used to floodlights. I was used to a dedicated Ethernet cable hooked around the
Mhm.
house. Like, I was
Yeah.
accustomed to a certain lifestyle of being a webcam model. And luckily, I have been able to keep doing it because
Mhm.
even with being on disability, getting on ODSP, the Ontario Disability Support Program, I was supposed to be evicted from my apartment. But yeah, it's a horrible window of psychosis, not paying bills, spent $1,500 at cat
Mm.
tree and not pay rent. And then I get approved for disability. And with Ontario Works to ODSP, there's a back pay lump sum that comes in.
Mhm.
That amount, exactly that amount, paid my electric bill, and then it paid my back pay and my rent. And that was 2011.
Wow.
And then my family doctor, luckily she's wonderful. I found her in 2004. She always set up a referral for me for psychotherapy or a psychiatrist or something. And then with being in Toronto, where when you're in the bigger city, it's easier to get access to mental health services. At least
Mm.
2004. Now, not so much. But
Mhm.
back then, I was always in access to an emergency service or a referral. Or if I had to, I just went to my doctor's office and waited till her day was over and she would check up on me and do a mental check in and then the next step. So, yeah, like luck, okay, sure. But I also took action. Like I didn't just sit around and play the victim and not do anything. I actually talked to the professionals that took the job of helping people
Mhm.
to help me. And here I am. I And then multiple sclerosis, 2013. That thing hit me like a brick. Like I couldn't move my left arm. I had
Wow.
to do all these tests. Then we do the MRI, and they're like, you have demyelination of the spine. And then, oh, yes, multiple sclerosis. And then it went in remission. So it was gone for 3 years. So I partied like it's 1999, spent a whole lot of money on strippers. Then it came back, and I wasn't ready to accept it. So the relationship had a substance habit. I dumped into his substance habit. And then when the symptoms came back, I like, you know what? I have to stay sober because this party life is it's just not working. Like, there's a window of being in healthy relationships that my brain hasn't figured out what they look like yet because I'm scared. And then non-healthy relationships where you look back and like, that's all you do? That's it? Nothing. Like we don't go to dinner, we don't have chats or watch movies or play chess. And then now he's gone and I have to go find the other half of my life, which I don't know what that is.
I just started dating. I just started going on dating platforms. It's a very weird world.
I can't do online dating. They recognize me as a cam model, and my profile gets kicked off. So now I have to
Really?
venture
I
out and get
haven't
him.
been clicked off yet. So that's interesting. I've had a few people say they recognized me. They're like, Annie.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, I still use the same name on a dating site. I just
So do
drop
I.
like 2 letters. That's it.
Well, for me, part of it is that I want people to know that I'm in this industry. I mean, I'm so like you. I'm so prolifically out there, face out on the internet. Like if someone is going to date me, they got to be okay with that. You know?
Yeah. When I like, if my adult novelty toys are in the sink because I need to wash them, I don't know how long they're going to be in the sink. Like I had my aunt took me home. She had to use the wet restroom, and my toys were in the sink. And she's like, "You couldn't like put them away?" I go, "Put them away for who? I live alone." So like the glass ones are in there, the rubber ones are over here. I'm trying to use the
Give me
antibacterial
notice if you
soap.
need to use my washroom.
Exactly. Like, and I typically wash them before I'm ready to go on and get work done. It like, and same thing, lingerie hanging up in the bathroom on the hooks on my laundry rack. Like it's just part of the lifestyle. And then now I'm watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and I'm getting inspired of the way they transform into the performer that they are. I'm like, yeah, I need to learn how to put on eyelashes and stuff. Like it's yeah. So the whole lifestyle of dating and then still in this work, as long as we're able to, yeah, I'm gonna make my US dollar money as long as humanly possible.
No doubt.
Because
I
that
love
thing
those US dollar monies.
but it was there before the new relationship showed up. Like, no, you're not like that. My work is like my marriage. It's forever. It's for life. Yeah.
So true. So when I read out your introduction, you talked about Dave Ramsey's book. Can you talk a little bit about what you learned in that book that has really helped you?
It's the way he organized the 7 baby steps. It was the missing piece I needed of how to manage my money. And with being on ODSP 2011, they capped your assets of $5,000. And then if you made money, they reduced your ODSP amount by 50%. So back then it was like $1,069. And they also didn't have a way, if you're self-employed, to report your income. So great, I'm self-employed. This is what we do. This is part of the job description, be independent contractors. But their system at that time didn't have a way of entering self-employment income. It still does it now. It still screws it up. And because they didn't have a way of reporting my income, and it was cash because of the other methods that we could work in the industry, I was surviving. I did what I needed to do. I knew I was making money. I always asked, how do I report it? And that caseworker in that time frame said, we don't know. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Now they have a full on section of the policy self-employment, how to report it. And it's separate than CRA. It's very annoying. Like, I wish they would just follow what the government says for small business and just keep it the same unified system. Because only Ontario Disability Support Program does it. It's not in Vancouver. It's not in Alberta.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that here.
It's the weird, every policy I've read, because I got bored of reading Ontario, treats self-employment like a natural business operation would, reporting to Revenue Agency of Canada. But Ontario was like, we're going to give you a separate list of approved expenses that they claim is approved to run your business. Then they screw up gross income versus net income all the time. Just because I made $1,000 doesn't mean I kept $1,000, because there's expenses. And then some of the expenses, like travel, they don't recognize travel for business. So if I go to a conference for something, whether it's internet marketing, webcamming, any of the things that we have, and I spend the money to travel for business, and I come back and you're telling me that income I spent on travel, I could spend like $5,000 on travel. Like one of the
that's just for people on disability in Ontario can't have travel expenses?
It's just the way they accept certain things and then reject certain things in the policy. Like there's other things in the approved expenses they don't accept, like CPP contributions and paying employees. Like they really just, they don't want to do the paperwork. So they're not going to accept it. I'm like, well, that's dumb, because CRA would accept it. So then what I do is I report what I need to report to CRA, send a copy to ODSP, and I let ODSP figure it out. I'm not gonna do your system, because your system,
that's how it should work anyway.
But their system doesn't actually work when I'm not on social assistance.
So it says in here that you made you were able to eliminate your debt and build a safety net. And so can you maybe give us some of that advice that helped you get there?
That would be round one. So round one, I paid off $8,000 in 9 months during the pandemic. Wow. And then I built my emergency fund to about $6,000 or $7,000.
Wow.
This time I have $15,000 of credit cards, a disability overpayment of $2,600. And I need to get back on the Dave Ramsey baby step plan to aggressively focus and pay down credit cards and not like pay minimum payments and then build up my savings. But because of having the registered disability savings plan, I have to make sure I match my contributions with the government. So like the registered disability savings plan has this specific rule based on your household income taxes. Like this year it was deposit $5,000 for the contributions, $10,500 to catch up and carry forward. So it's the current year, 2024, but it's all the previous years of me being eligible for the disability tax credit. And for me, it's from 2008 to 2025. And there's a 10-year window of going back to get all the catch-up contributions. Plus, like other people think I would get more income from my previous tax returns, but my income has naturally been low because of being self-employed and not having enough net income to be taxable income to be paying taxes where I would get a bigger refund.
Isn't it funny how people think, a lot of people think that we make so much money in this industry?
It's just in general. They generalize a lot with certain financial information because they treat it as everybody has a 2-week paycheck. No, we don't. Like, and then how they don't think webcamming, we claim it on our taxes, let alone report it to disability office. I go, yeah, I do, because I fill out W-8-BEN tax form in the United States. I automatically fill out one tax form every time I log on a website, whether it's YouTube, webcam site, an adult phone site, an affiliate program like Amazon or Best Buy.
Patreon.
They will not pay me unless I fill out that form.
Yeah.
And I've been filling out that form since 2003. And every year, every 5 or 3 years, I have to fill out the form again. I freak out because I'm like, what do I put in paragraph 2?
I know.
Where now I need one master copy form filled out, and I just
Yeah,
match it with the first one,
that's a
which
good
means
idea. That's what I'm
going
gonna
to
do next time.
it means going to an accountant, pay for the accountant $300 or $1,500, whatever their fee is, get them to teach you what to put on the form, and
Mm,
then hopefully don't see them next year.
no doubt.
Like I it's just don't put everybody in the same box. Like even people on social assistance, we all don't get the same amount of money because I know to access more benefits. Like I get special diet, I get medical transportation, I know to access $500 every year to prove I'm actively trying to pursue actively competitive employment by running my
Mhm.
business. So my ODSP is more than the $1,368. It's actually $1,759 or something like
Oh,
that
wow,
now.
well done.
And it's only because I read the policy every freaking day. And I adjust it to the 7 baby steps plan of Dave Ramsey. Because
Hmm.
like how Dave Ramsey says save $1,000. Okay, great. Saving $1,000 for being on social assistance below the poverty line, it's a lot of money. It takes care of so much stuff. And then regular job people are like, oh, $1,000 not enough money. Did you have $1,000 just sitting there doing nothing, waiting for an
Mhm.
emergency, no matter what? Because to do that, it's a certain level of skills. Then credit cards. Like Dave Ramsey
Mhm.
says, no credit cards, but Canada says you need a good credit report to apply for a mortgage. With us being
Mhm.
self-employed, we need to look fantastic on paper.
It's
So
really
more
hard to
we
get a mortgage when you're self-employed.
because
Yeah.
we have to prove 2 years of income. Plus,
Mhm.
they're changing the whole down payment thing because the whole $1.5 million, they changed it for inflation and to get more people access to home ownership.
Okay.
But ideally, it still be good if we have 20% down because we're self-employed.
Yes, that's
Like,
right.
even though, yes, we can probably swing 15% or 10% because of our income and it's inconsistent and it's from American website that may or may not be there tomorrow morning. We
Mhm.
have to have more money and then more income sources or have other income streams from coaching or Mary Kay. Like we need other things that bring in income no matter what if the main gig doesn't work out.
I think that's really common for people in our industry to have multiple income streams. Do you
And
think
not
so?
suggest another form adult work in adult work to supplement your income. You burn out
Mhm.
faster and you hate the job faster.
That's true. That's true. I really, really hated when I was really going after my OnlyFans and also doing my massage work. I was feeling very drained. I started to hate OnlyFans. I almost just closed it down, but then instead I just made it free and I just post whatever I want now.
And then I had a relationship that had weird, interesting fantasies that felt like work. So I didn't feel like doing work
Mm,
because the boyfriend felt
yeah,
like work. And he couldn't he was so worried
yeah.
about his things that he didn't connect in that I'm tired because I'm a webcam all day. Okay,
Mhm.
great. Then you come here with your stupid ass fantasies because you watched it on some website. And I'm like, no, like, and I would sleep. I literally
Yeah.
just fall asleep. Like, just,
It's been weird for me watching, like, the world change because of porn. Watching, the difference in kinks, the rise of, like, really extreme kinks and, just the increase in, I feel like, men especially who don't pursue relationships and are just spending too much, in my opinion, too much time watching porn, and that it's creating, I do believe that porn does create these weird ideas about sex. Like, how could it not? And I'm not against porn, obviously. But I do see how it's impacted our world in a different way. And I feel like people already were at a disadvantage because we weren't taught how to connect. Connection wasn't taught to us. And actually, like, people who work in our industry, like, who provide intimacy in as a vocation, it's something we have to learn on our own. No one ever teaches that shit, you know? And so I feel like there's so many people walking around, first of all, who don't know how to connect with others. It's already a problem and difficult for them. And then you add porn to the equation, and now that's where they get all of their like artificial intimacy, you know?
But
What do you think? Do you think I'm
no,
wrong?
there is, but then we're also missing the puritanical Christian philosophies integrated into everything that we have, even though they're trying to say that they're trying to keep church and state separate. Like,
Yes.
and I felt like I went through trauma as a teenager pretty early before I became a full teenager. To have that conversation of what happened to me and describe what happened to me to an adult who's supposed to be there to protect me didn't happen. I had to figure out what happened to me. Then I had to figure out what's happening to my body as I age and become a teenager. And they label me as promiscuous, but no, I'm trying to process information that happened to me. Okay, great. And then I learned stuff about myself. Then I learned, oh, you know what? I don't have to meet Bobby on Friday. I can go do a video because I turned 18. The minute I learned that, I stopped giving it away for free. And then the same people that were bullying me, harassing me in high school got mad. And they didn't want me to work an adult. And they were like, why can't you just give it away for like you were yesterday? I go, I don't need to. I just made $300. Like, why? And that lasted of like high school people being fans of my work like a couple years ago. Where they want to take pictures with me now. I'm like, and now because of payback, they're buying me Burger King or driving me home.
I do feel like a lot of people who had judged me initially when I started stripping back in the 90s are like have really come around as they've gotten older. Like a lot of you know, people that used to be more judgmental have gotten less judgmental. But I also feel like our world has gotten more judgmental, like you mentioned. Like right now, I just had someone message me yesterday about how they had their payment portal removed from their website because they wrote a book about polyamorous sex, basically, about how like they were a couple who I just interviewed them on my podcast last week, and they had their payment portal pulled. And I have a website and I sell books and webinars and coaching. I have so many things that are not sex work that I sell, and I cannot get a payment portal on my website.
That is
for me to do anything like
that
that,
is a
it's like
natural
fucked up.
challenge of people that sell stuff online. It's not just related to adult. And I learned that when I switched over to the e-commerce, affiliate marketing, Amazon affiliates, super affiliates, like affiliate summit. Like when you actually look at the whole buying stuff online, like they have to be like when people promise, oh, you can make $10,000 a month in their sales funnel, the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, will come in and say you're promising false advertising. Like when people hate like companies like Mary Kay and the MLM network marketing company, it's because people get in, they get excited about the money, they talk about the money, but they forget to talk about the work. Like it's still marketing and sales and building connections and building a relationship so people want to buy your products. Like the actual skill of business, it's still there, but because of the way the internet, it has this weird, how like last week I made $90 online because I have a regular customer, but this regular customer has been there since 2 years ago. But that day he spent $300. Fantastic. In my mind, I made $300. So like, and then if I told you I made $300 today, you don't know that I've been doing it for 22 years. Like you hear about it now as the first interaction with me. Like when I was in the barbershop, dude at the barbershop was complaining he has to go to his job for $29 an hour, and I sit at home and make $210. And he was like, I need to rethink my life choices. Well, I mean, men and women do the same thing that we're doing. It's just a matter of what are you prioritizing. But then they think all we do all day is pleasure ourselves. I'm like, no, that's like 6 minutes. And then I'm online for 2 hours waiting for somebody to be in my room, like I'm panhandling.
Oh, really? Interesting. I've never done webcam and I have no idea what it's like. Could you describe it a little bit for people who don't know?
So, like the best comparison is the Twitch streamers when they get started on their channel and they don't have nobody in their room, no subscribers, no bits, no whatever cartoon character flies up around the room because somebody subscribed or joined or supported the channel. That we have a long waiting period of getting customers to fall in love with us, spend money, and then repeat. And then
So what do you do during that
it
time?
so like it's a lot of like speed dating or like icebreakers. It's a lot of get to know you questions. It's
Oh, I see. So someone stops into your room or whatever, is that how you word it? And then you say, "Hello, how are you
pretty much.
today?" kind of
And
thing.
then like, how you doing? Where do you live? How old are you? Like general make a friend questions is the best, like, because they
Yeah.
may or may not spend right away, or they sit there and they watch you the whole time. And then you have a nervous breakdown, and then they take you private for a half an hour and you make $300. Like, yeah, I had that happen.
But it sounds like it sounds like there's like this connection that you build with the whole getting to know, making a friend part. Like that's the part where you create the connection with the person and they find out if they feel a connection with you and if they get the vibe, I guess. Is that how it
Yeah,
works?
it is. And with the interactive toys that we have now that are connected to the websites through Bluetooth, it happens a little bit faster because it's gamified. Like like YouTube chat and all the other chats that then you could tip them in their live stream when they're live. Our tips are vibrated by a toy the minute that button is clicked. And it's the wildest thing in the entire world. Like I would be zoned out, bored, out of my mind, and some dude would click the button 5 or 6 times, and the thing is vibrating for 2 minutes, and you can hear it rumble on my bed. And I'm
Wow.
like,
That is so interesting.
well,
Wow.
they're making the toys better motors, better connection, better batteries. Like they're not like the toys in Sex and the City.
Okay, so back up. Sorry, this is fascinating. Sorry. Okay, so you said it's gamified. So I don't understand. So there's a toy connected to the chat
Yeah,
room?
through my phone, through the Bluetooth.
And so did you set that up or
No,
did the
there's
company
a specific company that they call it teledonics. It's a specific technology of long distance remote control underwear vibrating toys. That's where it started. Before you had to be in the room with someone and click the remote control, and then you had the receiver on one. Like it's like I'm trying to figure out other remote control cars. You know how they move?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this isn't a I'm trying to use right words right now. It's just
I think I get the
exactly
idea.
like, and then
So like through the system, it's connected to the
yeah,
system.
it is.
That's
And
so
now
interesting.
every website has the same 3 brands of companies that make the toys: WeVibe, Kuro, and Lovense.
So you order the toy, you have to pay for it,
Well,
obviously.
no. So
I'm assuming.
Lovense first sent me like 3 toys or 4 toys as like a influencer content creator first.
That's cool.
One of them I didn't like. Looked like a lipstick. I no. And then the rabbit toy, I didn't want it because of traumatic memories of that particular style of toy, that model and make of toy. Because of when I first bought that one,
Yeah.
it was, I guess, a cheaper version or just the one that was defective. It burned me. So hairs got burned. I'm like, I'm not using this thing ever again. And that was
That is
2003
terrifying.
or 2004. I was 19 or 20. So
Oh my
the
god.
company said, "Here, we'll send you some toys." And they sent me the toy that looks like the toy that I don't like and would never buy ever again. I threw it away. But the thing is $200. The thing is they're not cheap. Like one of them, the new one they have now, it's $400. and it's a thrusting toy. It moves back and forth every time the whole interaction is just yeah.
Wow. This sounds like maybe I should start doing
The toys, like,
webcam.
they're more interactive, they're more
Oh my god.
exaggerated, like, they're silent movie types. And, like, silent movies are super exaggerated in
I
the
mean,
motions that they're doing.
I
It's
think
like that.
years ago I dated someone who liked to build his own F machine. I don't know if we
Exactly,
should swear on
exactly.
live streams. I don't know if they're gonna F machine. Yeah, there we go. And he would make them out of like those appliances you put on your counter and you make KitchenAids. KitchenAids.
Yes, I had somebody put a dimmer switch on a wand, the magic wand.
Oh
Exactly. And
wow.
I was like, what do you mean there's a dimmer switch on your Now they make them with their different controls. But when like the dimmer switch that you use for your regular lamp in your house, he switched it to the magic wand.
But I don't understand why.
Just at that time, I didn't think that technology was available. Now it's like common things. Like the way that every one of them has the Bluetooth or a USB charger. You know how many chargers I have in my house now? Did I have to remember where it's for and where does it plug in? Is it for a phone or is
I
it for a
know.
toy?
I know. I try to keep the toys with the
Yeah, I have a little
chargers.
baggie just for the ones for toys go in this
I
baggie,
know, they're all in
and the
Ziploc.
ones for
That's how
cell
I used
phones
to have
goes
my
in this
sibling
baggie in this drawer. Like it's
good.
just so like yes, I'm happy for the advancement and innovation and stuff, but my administrative management of this inventory is exhausting.
I'm just learning so much from you, and I love what you're telling me about webcam. I have another question.
Go ahead.
Um, so so what kind of person do you like, what do you think you would say to someone are the pros and cons of doing webcam?
The con is it get comfortable being on the internet. Like some models, they do webcam and they spend a lot of their time trying to remove themselves off of other websites that steal their content. I don't do that. The reason being, eventually, because the way I take long breaks, people think I quit. No, I'm trying to manage a career. It's a lot and a disability. And oh, yeah, some
Yeah,
boyfriend that
exactly.
has an issue with me being naked on the internet. Like that. Like the way that society had men would never really quit their job because a female doesn't like it.
Yeah,
But
that's
female
true.
has a job. We're making a lot of money. We're doing really good things. We travel. We get our nails done every 2 weeks. We do all this thing. We can buy your house and your car if we wanted to. But oh yeah, your money is still our money because of colonialism and patriarchy. 50% of yours is still mine, and what's mine is still mine. Like, yes. And I still expect you to pay for dinner and open the car door. And yes, I still expect those things.
Well, I do. I was just talking about this actually with someone I went on a date with about chivalry, and he was saying that it's kind of confusing because he doesn't know, should he open a door? Will that offend someone? And then also like with the whole splitting the bill or who pays for the
And they're
bill, that's,
forgetting the
you know,
most
that's
important thing of
awkward.
asking, is this okay? Like, how
Yeah.
hard? Like,
Like for me, I just go for coffee dates. That way I don't have to pay for my own food. We don't have to talk, like I can afford I can afford a coffee. And then if they offer to take me out for a meal, then maybe I'll go depending. But it's definitely like it's not obvious anymore like it used to be.
no, it's like
Kind of like what the roles were, you know.
they've forgotten that we want to be wooed. We want to be courted.
Some of us do, but some of us don't. Like even I feel like even paying a compliment to a woman or trying to approach a woman is really scary for a lot of guys now, I think. Because a lot of women just get so easily offended or
Well,
upset
because
and
there's too many of them doing it in a way that's creepy and predatory. where the ones that are doing it because they're generally giving you a compliment, they get drowned out. But that's
Yeah.
because women's number one predator are men. If we're looking at the pyramid of, you know how lions are king of the jungle and then other animals and then next animals, the ecosystem, our number one, it's not a tiger, it's not the T-Rex dragon, it's another man. Like, great. Like you said you like me, but then, oh right, you could kill me even if you still like me. Like,
I knew a woman who said she would, after she was in a really abusive relationship, that she would never date a man again that was bigger than her. And she always dated like really short guys that were like shorter than her and smaller than her.
I've done half and half. I don't like you too tall where I break my neck trying to reach, but I need you to be tall to reach on top of the cabinets. So because when we're both short, nobody's reaching top of the cabinets. It's just,
I noticed like on Facebook or Facebook dating. Yeah, Facebook dating, Tinder, I'm on both. A lot of guys post their height right away, like to let people know if they're really tall or they're really short. And I thought, oh, interesting.
yeah. So my brother, he's 22 now. It's weird. It's just weird because
wow, a lot younger than you. I have a sister that's 14
I
years
left
younger
home
than
and
me
then my
too.
little brother was born and now he is a full-grown adult with a fancy car and a job and a career and everything. And what's weird about it is we're in the same dating pool. And luckily, I know he's my brother and I met him before.
Oh, no
because
doubt.
we're in the same dating pool. Like, he could be a
Wow.
blind date. He could be speed dating.
True.
He could be some dude on my webcam watching me.
Yeah, that is a little bit
So,
creepy. That was one of the things that always
the
prevented
minute
me
I
from
knew how
webcamming.
old he is now, that he's over 20 or 21 and a full-grown adult and can think for himself, you need to know your big sister's on the internet doing this stuff. He's okay with it. Fantastic. I thought he wouldn't be because of my family,
Yeah.
because their belief system and whatever. Like, great.
I was terrified my son wouldn't be very accepting of it just because he's a man, and like, I don't know. My daughters I always knew would accept me no matter what, but I don't know why I doubted my son. I shouldn't have, because he loves me unconditionally and accepts
Plus,
me, but
you're raising him
yeah, I had
like
that
that. Like with my
fear. Yeah.
brother, I'm not the one raising him. It's my parents that messed me up, that I think
Yeah.
messed him up. So
No
when I'm
doubt.
telling him, hey, your room had these stories from your big sister, he doesn't, he's like the complete straight and narrow, really good kid that my dad always wanted in a boy. So when I'm telling him all the stuff, his big, like, boys in the closet, alcohol in the fridge, condoms in the basement, his brain was like, what? But he understood why our dad was super hard on him. Because I'm the one that made him scared to death. No, like, I was coming home 4:00 in the morning when I was 15. Exactly.
Wow.
Like, and my brother, no, home by 5, homework done by Monday. Like,
Yeah, I'm so lucky. My kids, I have my youngest now is turning 14 soon, and she is wonderful. And my two older children, 24 and 19, never put me through anything. They got a little snarky when they were teenagers, and I would just be like, excuse me, I don't speak to you disrespectfully, and I don't appreciate you speaking to me that way. And usually they'd say sorry. Sometimes they wouldn't, but it was enough.
yeah,
I'm
which
so
is, that's
lucky.
a certain mom skill. Like, my mom gave us a look and we were quiet. Like, it's a certain skill of parenting that you can have a good conversation with your kids and they know what they did wrong. Me, I just didn't go home. So it's like, because it, like, I built it up in my head so much of I did something wrong and then they're going to find out and they're going to punish me. So I didn't go home. But, and then I created a different problem for them to be worried about instead of the original problem. Like when I lost my cell phone, I should have just told them someone stole my cell phone.
Mm.
But I made the extra effort to try to replace the cell phone, get it activated with the same phone number. I said, tell my dad, hey, you know the cell
Mm.
phone? It's stolen. And I'm sorry. But no, I try to be the adult and fix the problem instead of just being a kid and let my parents get mad at me, say, and then wait a couple days later and say they love me and then refresh and start over. But that is a certain environment of parenting to create that environment where your children become really good, well-adjusted adults.
Yeah, and they feel safe to talk to you, and they don't feel like you're gonna lose your shit because you lost your cell phone or something, you know? Yeah. My oldest daughter lost my cell phone. My cell phone once.
Exactly. But how quickly did you know it happened?
She went for a walk, with her little brother, and I said, "Don't lose my cell phone," but I wanted her to have it, and we had a landline at the time. And, she came back and I said, "Where's my cell phone?" She couldn't find it. She must have dropped it somewhere. They went walking, looking, but they never found it, but yeah. I was just like, "Oh my
But that's a
god."
short window of finding out something happened. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a problem. I forgive you. Move on and buy a new one. Like some kids' problems, they
Yeah.
literally don't, like when they have babies and they're fully pregnant in the house and their parents never know until the baby is
I know.
here. Like,
I know a woman who was, like, trying to sneak out of the house in the middle of the night and get herself call a taxi and go to the hospital, but the baby was coming too fast, and she had hid her pregnancy from her mother through the whole thing. She lived with her mom, and then she just had the baby right there with her mom. Her mom basically delivered her baby. It was just, like, an insane story. I can't believe it, but that's the fear. You know, that is the fear that, young women have when they get pregnant about, like, their parents. Like, that's why one of the reasons why, like, I have a real problem with, nurses and doctors coercing children to get, like, vaccines or any kind of medical treatment because, I feel like the kids are not they don't have the capacity to make good decisions and make those kinds of really difficult decisions. They can be easily coerced, easily influenced, and easily, pressured, you know? Even adults have trouble resisting a doctor's pressure, you
I
know?
think that's when they don't have a good sense of self. Because
Maybe.
I made huge decisions that I, I'm okay with now.
Mhm.
Same thing with my sister. We made, because our parents created an environment where we had to grow up faster. Like
Mhm.
it wasn't like a collective parent and me making the decision. Either they made a decision, and the minute I became 16 and legal to make certain medical decisions by myself, I did. Like I went on birth
Mhm.
control the minute I knew my insurance was at what pharmacy location and it cost me $2 to get it. So it was biggest
Yeah.
deal. I had to find $2, get my birth control pills, take them on time, follow the instructions. They didn't know. My mom found a flyer to the clinic. That's how she knew I was taking care of my.
Mm.
Plus, I was watching Sue Johansson at 10 o'clock at night. I like I had
I wanted to be her.
I had resources. Like the pressure of growing up faster, that you had to know the answer before you even learned the lesson, was ingrained in our
Mhm.
house. And then the environment of parents not always home because they work so many jobs, where the house had to
Mhm.
be spick and span before they walked through the door. We were just in a very high pressure environment where we had to act like perfectly accessorized children. And then
Do you still have a relationship with your
no,
parents?
they screwed that up. That is their problem.
Oh, yeah.
like like we talk, but it's not this easy flow conversation we're having right now.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I'm 40 next year and they're 20 years plus that number. And no, I
Mhm.
the most was Father's Day, me talking to my brother, my dad's at the table. My dad didn't say a word, and I'm telling my brother every horrible story of his big sister. And then my brother paid for dinner. That was the most, like, oh, wait a minute. I could actually authentically be myself in front of my parents and not worry about them criticizing me, judging me, or belittling me for my choices that are my choices. Like that environment is still, no, I miss Christmas. Like I didn't go to my grandma's for Christmas. I could have just, she was like, how come you didn't come? I thought you would come. I made you food. What environment would I be in that?
You just didn't feel safe? Is that
No,
why?
like the level of learning with
Yeah.
disabilities, like so multiple sclerosis and how the body keeps score from trauma, and we think our illnesses are coming from our trauma, depending what they are, because of stress and hormones and all those things. I know my family caused it, because anytime I was a kid and said my stomach hurt, they never let me stay home from school. But we know kids who say their stomach hurt is usually anxiety.
That's true.
So because I wasn't like on the floor passed out, I had to go to school. And then school, luckily we still had the bed in the nurse's station. Like we had the bed, but not the nurse. So I would go lie down. And then high school, anytime they played a movie in civics class, I fell asleep. The teacher hated it.
Wow.
She literally told me, "Can you please stay awake? There's a test." So like
Is that because you weren't sleeping at night?
Stress. I would check out. I would mentally check out. Where now I have sleep apnea. I stopped breathing for 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's
32
really common.
times.
That's really
So I know my history, the way I handle stress is still popping up now, even though I've dealt with the major big stuff.
I do agree with you. Like when you have a delicate health condition like multiple sclerosis or Crohn's or whatever it is, stress, being around toxic people, any of that is extremely draining. Like, and work too. Like when you talk about you work really hard all day and then your partner makes you feel like you're back at work again. I feel like work can be really draining and make it hard to like for me, that's part of the reason why I'm in this industry, is because when I was trying to work full time, because obviously you can't live on disability. When I was trying to work full time, I had no spoons left, as they say. I had no energy left for my kids or my partner or anyone else in my life. I was exhausted, and then I had to make dinner and clean the house. And I was just like, and on top of it, I had a disability, but I was like, I can't live on disability. So I was trying to, have a full-time job, and it's extremely difficult. I think just for the average person, especially if it's a draining, mentally
Like
draining
this
job.
year, I had a
see.
colonoscopy, and you're supposed to have someone bring you home. Both my parents work. They know their schedule like 2 months in advance. So like, okay, great. Send me money so I can hire a private nurse. Because there's certain, like, you could hire a PSW or a private nurse to do that task. So great. I found a service, and me finding the service because I potentially want to get cosmetic surgery, and coming home from cosmetic surgery, same thing. I can't do all my dishes. I can't do the laundry. I can't take out the garbage. Like I live alone. So, and then if those stuff pile up too much and you come over, you complain that I'm not doing it. But you could do it because you're complaining that I didn't do it. And it's a whole thing. So when I hired
it's better to just do it on
when
your
I
own
hired the
or hire
PSW,
someone.
and I asked her, "Can you are you allowed to wash my dishes?" She said, "Yeah, I can do anything." I'm like, I had a hard time letting go of her washing my dishes while I ordered burgers from Skip the Dishes. Because the whole point was let the anesthesia leave my body, and then I don't have to worry about dishes. But I still had a hard time hiring a professional whose job description is to come in and make my life a little easier for that day. So I don't have to worry about the appointment. I don't have to worry about coming home. I don't have to worry about side effects of anesthesia because she's going to watch me a certain window of time. And even that, my family really thought another family member could do it. And I literally pinpointed everyone's work schedule. Even so, like I have family members that are PSWs, nurses, and doctors.
Oh, really? Wow.
And in that,
Wow.
they don't have the time to take time off to help me, their niece, daughter, cousin, at all.
I think that's a common problem for people with disabilities, and I've been there too, where I've had a surgery, I'm at home, I'm on morphine, it's effing with me, and I can't take care of my children, and then my ex-husband is over and starts a big fight with me, and so I'm like, "F this, you're out of here." Go off the morphine, and I'm walking through the mall or through the grocery store with my children because there's no one to take care of me and them especially, and unless I want to make my life hell by having to tolerate someone that treats me like shit, and I'm just not one of those people who can handle that. I'm like, no, I'll do it myself. It might be hard, but I will. I can't believe how fast this whole hour has gone. It seems like we have a lot in common with our disabilities and working in this industry, and also um, I recently got the registered disability savings plan, so that's really
Are you
fascinating.
making your contributions to that plan?
I did until I was 50 because I only started it like I think a year or two before I turned 50, and the government matches your contributions until you turn 50.
But you
So
can
at
still
that
make
point,
deposits till you're 59.
yeah, yeah, I can. I have, yeah. Right now, I'm not really in that position because I had a relationship breakup and I'm doing the single mom thing again. And it's tough right now. Rent is so expensive and the economy is shit. So I'm really hoping that our economy in Canada improves soon, because COVID just destroyed it. And it just has not it's not gotten any better. It's gotten just worse and worse. Rents have kept going up, gas keeps going up, groceries keep going up, and income keeps going down, and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah,
So
it's a
yeah.
weird climate because who runs our country affects not all the population. Like it's like who
Mhm.
benefits from that person being in power. It that
Yeah.
divide that we have, like even me on disability and like the level of assets and stuff that I had from following Dave Ramsey baby plan in 2017, that changed a lot for me. Like I didn't have to
Definitely gonna get that
I
book.
didn't have to worry of getting bad advice from a caseworker in the disability office because they're not financial
Mm,
advisors.
mhm. No,
Like
they're not.
your job is to make sure I get my entitlement payments for being eligible for a disability that my doctor says I have. And then I live my life. And then I report to you marriage, common, like every life event I have to report to the disability office.
I know.
So they determine if I
I
still get
know.
their money.
They own
They
us.
do.
They own
But they
us.
also tell you
Yeah.
how to leave the system. Like they
Mhm.
specific, like it's in the numbers. It's actually like if you look at like how the disability savings plan, they match you up to $90,000 if you're eligible up to age 49, but the lifetime contributions is 200,000. Okay, great.
Mhm.
So then 50 to 59, as long as you're still actively able to get the disability tax credit, put money in there. And then when you're not, it's a tax-free savings account. That's next.
Yeah.
And then and then depending on your income, RSPs, and then the first home savings account. The government made us accounts that will benefit us, but we're not using it. And then we find reasons of
Mhm.
the government or the economy. They're always going to be there. Those
Yeah,
issues are always going to
that's
be
true.
there. But if you can purposely set
That is
aside
true.
$100 in investments instead of $100 on
Yeah.
alcohol, oh my God, it turns into a lot of money. I used to spend $3,000 a week on strippers. I don't do that no more.
Holy shit.
Exactly.
Where were you when I was a stripper?
I mean, it was mostly male exotic dancers
Oh,
and a
damn.
handful of female. But when I went to the female strip clubs, they thought I was working. So it didn't work because they would kick me out. And then
Yeah.
eventually I got kicked
Yeah.
out in the male strip clubs because I would bring home everybody. I brought home 32 in a week. It was my best record ever. But like, because it was a weird reciprocal spiritual transaction. Every time I made money and spent it on male dancers, I would make more money the next day. So then I kept
Wow.
doing it. And
It was like
it
you're lucky.
was it,
You're
but I wasn't saving that money in that season of life. Like 2 years later, I found
Mhm.
Dave Ramsey and started the babysit plan. But when I was making the most money I wasn't.
I know. I wish I could go back to when I was making like amazing money. There's so many things I would do differently now that I'm trying to teach my children.
I
Yeah,
see someone in chat.
financial. Oh my goodness. I have to close. I don't know how to work this very well. Chat. Oh, it's on your
Oh,
chat,
mine?
I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. I clicked my
Trust me.
channel. Oh, that's so true. I totally forgot I'm on my
Yeah.
channel too. Great. And I'm monetized on my channel. I like to keep it that way. So it says,
Nice. You're on disability for
Tristan
mental
is,
health,
yeah,
they
they're on
say.
disability for mental health. That's it, which I
Mhm.
am. And then Annie's disability. Because I remember you talked about it, the colostomy bag. But is that your only condition or
Mhm.
is there more?
Well, I've had Crohn's. Like I had a vaccine injury in 2008, which is what started it all, and it basically destroyed my large intestine. And in 2012, they removed 75% of my large intestine, and then last year they removed the rest of it. And so now I have the ostomy bag. But throughout all of that, it's just been a
That
roller
just sucks
coaster.
because
I
like the
also had
colonoscopy
like
for me
arthritis and
in
everything.
July, they checked mine and said it's normal. And and then I
Good for
couldn't wait
you.
to have cheeseburgers right after. Like, because the way you come out of anesthesia, you're in the recovery room, and the little cubicles of everybody. I heard everybody's results. They were not. I felt like that
Mm.
day I was the only good result person for the day. It's like I heard other people had
Aw.
inflammation or they had different things that they saw in there, and I was like, "What?" Like, it's just because it's not a thing you think about looking into until you're older. But then they're knowing that people that are younger are getting these conditions.
Mhm.
Like, and it's not just,
Yeah.
oh, have like a keto paleo diet or something. Like your intestines don't want to process whatever you're sending down there. Like it's a
Yeah.
factory that doesn't
Well,
want to
they
work
get
properly.
destroyed. They get destroyed by pharmaceuticals and the chemicals in our foods and our environment. Our intestine, some people say now, is like the bulk of our immune system. And so if it's compromised, it really fucks you up.
Yeah, because the whole like now you have a bag outside of your body doing that's supposed to happen inside of your body. Like that's
Mhm.
that's that's
Yes.
because my mom's and grandma are nurses. I have a rough idea what you're going through, but in
Mhm.
my mind, I
Well, it's actually given me my life back because I honestly couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't go for long walks. I couldn't go for long drives. I mean, sitting was painful because of the inflammation that was in my rectum. It was honestly became like a nightmare. It got to the point where I couldn't even have sex anymore, and that's when I was like, okay, just take my intestine.
it's yeah.
Because
I
I
remember
am a very I've always had a high libido, and that's so important to me,
that
you
was the
know?
same thing when they're giving me my bipolar medication and the side effects could be sexual function. And I was like, and I said, the minute that thing does not ruin my ability to income, we're changing medication. It was
Yeah,
like you could give me the
exactly.
medication, but if I can't make money, we're changing medication. Luckily,
And I was actually scared to tell the doctors what my job was because I was so at their mercy and didn't want them to judge me and maybe not give me as good of
you don't
care,
even have to.
but at the
Like
same
the
time,
way that
it's
you said
so
you have a high
important.
libido. Other people have high libidos and they don't do our job.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's not
That's what I
like
said.
you know how to get tested, you know how to be safe, you know how to if it looks
Mhm,
weird, you're not touching it. Like there's a skill we like and I
mhm,
my doctor luckily didn't do it. I was able to tell her what my job was, but she also came back and
mhm,
said to me, "I'm not really worried about your work cuz you do all the stuff routine." But her referrals would judge me. And then I would go back to my
mhm,
primary doctor
exactly.
and be like, "Your referral, I don't like them because they don't like my job. I can't go back to your referral. You have to send me a new
Mhm,
one." And that was
mhm.
part of my healthcare routine of great, like depending on what
Well, good for you. I admire you that you were honest. It's been something there's a study I would love to do. I would love to find funding to do a study where or study slash project where every single doctor's office is contacted and asked, do you discriminate against sex workers? Do you discriminate against, and then like have a list of people, different kinds of people that get discriminated against, uh, drug users, unvaccinated, whatever, have a list. And then they'll all say no,
Yeah.
probably. And then say, do you mind if we send you some information and could you share this with your staff? And that like some funding, get a health organization to pay for the funding to send out information about discrimination and about people in our industry and
Yeah, but
whatnot.
they
Anyway, this is
already
like
don't
a dream
listen
I
to
have.
people of color and women in the healthcare profession. So then we're supposed to give them a list to be sensitivity training to be inclusive when they naturally already do it. Like, even though women's bodies, Black women's bodies, are the ones that they tested on for gynecologists to have all the information that they have, they still ignore, they don't listen to me when I go to a referral, especially if it's a white male doctor. He's not listening to me. Like,
Women are treated like we're
I had
hysterical,
my tubal
largely. all the
ligation
time.
surgery in 2017. I cannot have children. Those fallopian tubes are not in my body anymore. We removed them. Their medical waste are long gone and disintegrated into dust. But if I go into a referral, like my feet were swollen for lymphedema, he was like, that typically happens when you're pregnant. I go, did you read my file? This is, I don't have my fallopian tubes.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like, it's right there. Like,
I find that in Tinder, guys will say stuff. I'll be like, did you read my profile?
yeah, like in the work, men don't read, but a doctor who wants you as a patient, because they
Yeah.
need to get paid as you being the patient with our Canadian free healthcare system that's not really free, they don't
Yeah.
even read the file of who's in the room.
I agree.
Wait, my chat's going off again. We have to go through the Social
We have to
Security
go.
Administration in the States. Oh, it's the States, the Americans. Yeah, and the Americans have a really messed up policy. I read it. The SSI, SSDI. They're not allowed to have $2,000 of assets in their bank accounts. But
Yeah, that's
they
right.
let them be
I've heard
self-employed, so that
that's
they can be self-employed, 100% self-employed, claim all their expenses, but their net income has to be less than $2,000 in their bank account.
it's less than 5,500 a year in BC. Or I don't know if that's in Canada for CPP disability. It's something ridiculous. Like you can't live on it. There's no possible way that a person can live on what they expect people to live
there's
on.
income, then there's assets, then there's active income. So like when you read more of Dave Ramsey and other financial stuff, like they're different buckets of income. Like assets is supposed to be like your RDSP is long-term 65 and over income that's invested in the stock market. So then when you turn 65, you have that income to pull out. Then some of it's taxes, some of it's not taxes, depending on how the government made this stupid regulation for this account that's freaking annoying. But I love my 210% match. Thank you, government. Like, it's just then tax-free savings account, you can like put it in, take it out. But if you keep it in long term, all of that income for you could be tax-free income. So if you can figure out how to make more income, keep your debt really low, only have savings and investments and your basic living expenses, you're okay, which is a certain demographic of the population in North America. They're fine. Their investments are doing their investment thing. They don't really have to worry about who's in office. They're the type of people who will vote for anybody just to stir up trouble in their portfolio.
Oh my God.
When I really thought about it, like how the $1 US is now $1.40 Canadian. It's because the Americans stirred up trouble that triggered the dollar where I make more money. Okay, great. So while I make more money, I have to make sure the money I make is invested properly with my financial advisor. Like last year, it was, we need to talk about the performance of your portfolio. Like it's parent teacher night with my money in my bank account. That is a whole different conversation. That's not even talked about the disability community because so many of them are below the poverty line. And then if you are,
that's what I like about your Twitter. I follow a lot of the things that you give a lot of education about.
I tell you exactly what it says and where to find it. You have no excuses of you cannot find it. Like the American ones, how I know it's $2,000 and there's an essay some organization in the US, they made an essay that if they increased the asset limit to like 200,000, nothing else would change for people with a disability stat wise. Like their life wouldn't be drastically better. It would just give them an
Mhm.
opportunity to have more assets. Similar like to on across Canada, the asset limit is roughly all around $150,000 across the country. I looked. It's really weird. Then Ontario, who wants
Wow.
to be different, they separate the assets in life insurance and then non-exempt assets. Non-exempt assets are like your TFSA RSPs. But because now with my financial advisor who sells life insurance and the way the life insurance law and the Insurance Act is, you could invest in your life insurance, your TFSA, in segregated funds. Segregated funds are only
Hmm.
sold by somebody who sells life insurance products across the country. That's why people like from the
Oh.
companies Primerica or World Financial Group are always trying to get you to review their portfolio because they primarily sell life insurance. But if you know how to
Mhm.
properly use life insurance for being in Ontario and being on ODSP, you can properly protect your future if you know what to do when you get money. Not
Yeah, that's the thing most people don't.
and that was that's this is from
True.
6 years of following Dave Ramsey baby steps because I had to focus on
Mhm.
my money habits where I repeat it like a parrot now. It's just spits out to anybody I talk to. even
I'm definitely gonna
even
read
when I
that
woke
book.
up from the colonoscopy anesthesia, apparently I told her I could help her manage her portfolio. I remember like you're waking up
Hilarious.
from anesthesia and it's blurry and you said word. I lived like
Mhm.
those are the words I said. She's like, yeah, you had a full conversation with the lady. I go, what did I say? Because all I remember is said I can help you with my portfolio. And I'm like, what? But I was
This has been really great, Minnie. I'm so sorry. We've gone over the hour, and I have to wind it down now because I've got my kid waiting in the
right.
other
You have a
room to
minor.
watch a
Totally
movie.
forgot. I'm so sorry.
No, no, don't be sorry. I've enjoyed this conversation. I wonder if I should start just booking my podcast longer because it's really hard. But by the hour, I usually am like just getting into the flow of the conversation.
It's like therapy. It's like
I-
therapy. It's like 50 minutes, your
It
time is up.
is,
And I'm
and it's
like,
so nice. And it's nice to connect with people that I've been following, like you. I've been following for years and fascinated by everything that you're doing. And I just really appreciate you taking the time to be here. Thank you
I'm
so
very happy we did
much.
this. This is nice. They're like this because the
Yeah.
community is a weird, like either to have close knit people in the industry, it's very rare. And then it's easier to have
Mhm.
long distance relationships with other people in the same industry.
Yeah. I found like when I worked in the strip clubs, there was a lot of camaraderie, but when you work alone, you're very isolated. So this is a way that I am able to
And
connect
I
with
have
people,
your
and I'm so
book.
glad I
I
started the
I
podcast.
need to read your little tiny book. It's not that big. I just need to sit down and read it. Because
The Business
yeah,
Bible.
that I need to read it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to go off the live stream. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight on the Fearless Living podcast. And I will see you in a week, 7 p.m. every Friday night. And if you want to check out the all of the past episodes of my live streams, you can go to my Patreon page and sign up with your free membership. And I hope that you do because I'm going to be doing some really exciting stuff there. And you can also listen to erotic literature in my voice on my Patreon page. So if you're like me and you have a high libido, maybe you like that. And I'm just going to blow some kisses and then I'm going to say goodbye. Bye, everyone. And Minnie, you